Have you ever found yourself in a place that, for all its striking beauty, just didn't make for a good photo? Well, this isn't one of those places. This place simply took my breath away and gave me so much to work with. Being here was surreal. It was like walking through a painting filled with brilliant colours and textures, with silky turquoise water, rugged granite rocks and snow-capped mountains hidden behind mist and soft sunlit clouds. It gave me my two biggest and best panoramas to date, and a bag of other wonderful photos and some amazing memories to go with. Good morning from Lake Tekapo. Oh, it is a gorgeous morning. It is so still, partly cloudy, and I've got this beautiful pre-dawn light in my background. We've got low-laying clouds, a bit of mist and fog hovering over the mountains to my right, and we've got this beautiful Lake Tekapo, which if you've not seen yet, I can't wait to show it to you once there's more light. But it's this pristine, beautiful turquoise water, as blue or as turquoise as you can imagine. It is just absolutely stunning in daylight. So hopefully as the light lifts, you'll see more of that. But I'm here now for some early sunrise photos. So right behind me as well, you'll see is the Church of the Good Shepherd. And what I'm hoping to do this morning is grab a few panoramas of I think that's Mount Dobson behind me, Mount Dobson mountain range. And then I'll shift my composition later on to look at the Southern Alps just towards that direction. Now I don't have a wide angle lens on me. Unfortunately, that was damaged and isn't working. So I'm going to try my best to capture this landscape as best I can with a series of panoramas where needed. The widest I can go on my current lens is 35 mils, which is not that wide for this landscape. But let's get straight into it before I lose this pre-dawn light. Right, so the light's quite variable at this stage. It's right behind the church at the moment, and so that's where it's brightest, and then it gets darker to my left. So I'm gonna, as part of this set of images for my panorama photo, I'm gonna expose for the brightest part, which is my church, and then I'll just have to lift the shadows in post, making sure I'm not clipping my highlights. So right now I am on F9, 1 second, and just overlapping by about a third as I pan my way through this scene. So really the top of the mountains is just sitting around my top third there of my image. I've got a lot of rocks in my foreground. I think some of it would be nice for foreground interest, but there's just a bit too many, so I'm just going to have to crop it. Although the plan was to crop out a lot of these rocks, I decided not to, because while editing in post, I realised just how much I love the glint of the purple pre-dawn light on these rocks. I think they add great depth and foreground interest, but let me know your thoughts. So, sun has risen now. I think it's, right on sunrise. Not sure if you can see a bit better now. Just the water behind me. Starting to see a bit of blue come through, but as the light lifts, you'll see just the beautiful turquoise water. And that's a result of the glacial meltwater, which is coming from the Alps. I mean, we're surrounded by the Alps here. We've got Southern Alps, they call it, just in front of us, and Mount Cook National Park to my left, and then we've got Mount Dobson and a few other mountains to my right. So that's all feeding into this lake, and this area as well is, I think, a UNESCO dark sky reserve. So basically what that means is that it's got strict guidelines to protect it from light pollution, and that makes it a fantastic place of stargazing and some astrophotography, which hopefully I'll be able to do tonight. Such a beautiful little township, Lake Tekapo. Really peaceful, quiet, and with scenery like this and conditions like this morning, it just makes me love it so much more. After professing my love for Lake Tekapo, it was time to find a new composition. Now, maybe the old me would have been a little bit more relaxed about carrying my tripod and camera about, instead of cradling it like a baby. But I was 1,000 miles from home, had only one long lens on me, and with all these rocks around me, I wasn't going to risk any mishaps. Now, the clouds have moved across a little bit. Now they're covering the peak of the mountain, so I'm not seeing it clearly. I'll just wait for the clouds to move a little bit, and then I'll take my shot. As there was not a whisper of wind about, waiting for the clouds to move was going to take some time. But that just meant more time for me to take in my beautiful surroundings. The conditions and atmosphere that morning were almost perfect in every way. So this township is quite a low-lying area, I think, and what that means is it's a little bit colder than the nearby townships. So it's a very crisp morning, and I think it's because of the sort of valley we're in, the air gets trapped. So perfect. So the clouds have sort of drifted below the peak of Mount Dobson. I'm pretty sure that's Mount Dobson, but I could be wrong, so please correct me if anyone knows any better. And that's exactly where I want it. I think where it is at the moment is just perfect because the clouds are right at the peak, just drawing our eyes to it. When I took this shot, only one thing came to mind, and I had to post it for all the Lord of the Rings fans out there. It wasn't long before it was time for my second epic panorama of that morning. I think before this trip I'd barely taken any panoramas, and now I have gone a little bit panorama crazy. I guess things you need to do when you're trying to capture these sorts of epic landscapes. So much vastness. I just love the details you can see on the slopes of the mountains here. Thin layers of snow and ice, and thin veils of fog and mist just floating by. The dreamy, painterly scene continued to unfold in front of me. Here. There you go. How calm is this lake? It's beautiful. Oh, I thought I didn't need gumboots. Gumboots would be lovely. Loving this composition where I've got these rocks just peeping through the lake here in my foreground, and it's just leading my eyes to the misty, foggy peaks in the background. So of course normally I'd use a circular polarizer just to cut out any unwanted glare and make the colours pop a little bit more, and you can see through the water a little bit better. But as I have to handhold my filters, I think this is going to be very difficult for me to hold my polarizer and my 6-stop at the same time without dropping one or the other. As had been the case all morning, waiting for the clouds to drift into the right place in my frame took a bit of patience. I was glad for the fleeting window of opportunity to capture the tip of this peak just as the clouds parted. I could have been out there shooting all day long, but all good things must come to an end. Heavy clouds were drifting in and starting to obscure my views of the mountains. Right, I took all the images I think I wanted this morning. Oh, it's beautiful. The colours probably weren't as vibrant as I was hoping. I have to pause here and say I don't know what I was thinking. The colours were pretty incredible. And just the atmosphere that's created by the conditions this morning. Very cool, very crisp, low-level clouds, but parted just enough where the sun was rising to let in some nice light, and there was a thin layer of mist just floating across the river. And you can see now we still have just thin veils of clouds just floating through, hitting the peaks at the right time, drifting away at the right time, showing us just enough to tease us. I'll be back here at sunset, definitely, because it's looking quite good tonight. So sun should be setting out that way, and hopefully we can see some brilliant colours come through, and then the skies should be really clear for some astrophotography tonight. And this place is just very well known for some amazing astro. So I'm excited. A lot ahead. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'd show you what the lake looks like by day. Hiking Mount John later that day gave me brilliant views of Lake Tekapo and the surrounds. How spectacular is that turquoise water? To wrap up, I thought I'd share a few other photos I'd taken of Lake Tekapo that morning, during the day, and at sunset, as well as on an astrophotography tour I went on that night, including some deep space photos. Not taken by me, but so fascinating I had to share.